Hey, what is going on, you guys? It is Mr. No Sleep here from Old School RuneScape, and welcome to a brand new video for you all today. So today we have loot from 1000 Waterfiends, and this video has been requested a few times in the past couple weeks. And since Waterfiends are 115 combat and they also don't really have a rare drop table, I did decide just to kill 1000 this time around rather than 3000. I definitely think I made the right choice here, you know, seeing as this is a Slayer task assigned by just Duradel, I believe. And I'm assuming once you get it as an assigned Slayer task, you're probably likely to get about 100 or maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. So I figure 1000 kills would be just enough for you guys to understand all the drops that you can get from Waterfiends. Hopefully by the end of the video you guys will decide if these are worth it to do as a Slayer task if you ever happen to get assigned Waterfiends in the future. Now I myself through 99 Slayer on both of my accounts have only ever used Neve, and with that being said, I've never been able to kill Waterfiends, only for an elite clue scroll step, which some of you may have done as well before. And as it goes for that elite clue step, that's pretty much the only time that I've ever encountered Waterfiends. I mean, to get into this area, it's really not too hard. You just have to teleport to Barbarian Assault using a games necklace, or what I was doing, which was just the jewelry box that I made in my player-owned house. And from that point on, you just have to run a little bit south, and as you guys saw, you just have to jump in that whirlpool, and then you'll be in this area, which is considered to be the Ancient Cavern. In this area, there are brutal green dragons to the east. There's also mithril dragons up a level, and then there's of course Waterfiends, which is pretty much in the northwest area. So as soon as you come downstairs, you just have to run west, and you should be in the same area that I'm in right now. Usually as it pertains to tracking the 1000 or 3000 kills, whatever it may be, I use a Slayer ring, a Slayer helmet, a bone crusher, things like that, you know, things that are really easy to track the kills. However, this time, and maybe you guys can correct me in the comment section below, I was unable to find anything that tracks kills from Waterfiends, and at first I was receiving one water rune every single kill, so I thought, okay, well, I'll just get 1000 water runes and then I'll be at 1000 kills. And then I quickly realized that you can get multiple water rune drops, such as 100 and above, so that would absolutely mess up the tracking. After all that, I just decided to resort to what I knew would work, which was just tracking all the kills through the XP that I was receiving. And for those of you who don't know, every single Waterfiend kill as it goes for range is about 516 XP. Therefore, 1000 kills would be 516,000 range XP, so it was pretty easy to track, you know, just had to write down two numbers on a notepad, and I just had to pay a little bit of attention just to make sure that I didn't go over 1000 kills or anything like that. So that is how I did track the kills, was all through the range XP. And just to make sure that I didn't mess up that range XP, anytime I would get a clue scroll step that involved a wizard or something that I had to use combat in, I usually just used a melee spec wep or a trident, and that was just to make sure that my range XP only ever increased from killing Waterfiends, and to make sure that the video was 100% accurate as it goes for the drops and what you guys can expect. And as I mentioned in the very beginning of the video, these guys have tons of drops. I mean, just looking at the drop log, they drop almost 20 different seeds, multiple alkables, and as well as a ton of different herbs and gems. So you guys know I say this pretty much every single video. If you ever come to Waterfiends, make sure you bring a gem bag, make sure you bring a herb sack, and of course the one item that I still do not have on my account, a seed box. All of those items will make you bank a lot less, and the thing with Waterfiends is there's so many drops, whether it goes for unnoted or noted, that you just get your inventory filled up very fast. So at first I was bringing a little bit of food, a little bit of prayer. I was kind of deciding how do I want to go about getting all these kills and how do I want to go about banking, and it pretty much turned out to be that every 100 kills or so I would try to fill up my inventory to the best of my ability. Sometimes I would get a clue scroll in that time, sometimes I wouldn't, and then I would bank after on average about 100 to 120 kills, and that usually is about the hourly rate that I was getting kills in. Using a blowpipe with full armadil, not elite void or anything like that, I was averaging about 120 kills an hour if I was paying attention. Usually I was kind of AFKing a little bit, so it was about 100 kills an hour personally for me. And as it goes for the method of killing them, I would say range would be your best option. The guide that I was using did say that they are a little bit weak to crush weapons, so before I used a blowpipe, I did try out an abyssal bludgeon with full bandos here, and personally I prefer the blowpipe. I found it to be much faster, and although you do have to spend money to use it, the only difference is towards the end when you get the price check of all the drops that you get from Waterfiends, you just have to minus the cost of all the scales and all the darts that you used, and if you don't like what you see, then of course you can just use a bludgeon and you'll make a lot more money when you kill these things rather than using a blowpipe. You guys know me, for the most part on these loot videos I prefer a blowpipe just because I like speed over anything, and in the meantime I was actually averaging about 65 to 75k range XP per hour here, and again that is with about 100 to 120 kills per hour. I mean, it really doesn't matter what you use, whether you use crush, whether you use range. I mean, they are really high defense, so personally I would only recommend coming here if you are above 100 combat, because other than that, you will be struggling a little bit. They do have two different styles of attacks, and one of them is magic and one of them is range. So if you're using a bludgeon and bandos, then my recommendation is to pray magic, and if you're using a blowpipe and armadillo, then obviously pray range, because whatever armor you're using is going to be relied on to tank one of the hits, and then your prayer is going to be relied on to tank the other one. So that way you prevent yourself from taking a lot of damage, and also bringing food and prayer potions, super combats, things like that. That will help increase the amount of kills you get per trip, so just keep that in mind. Overall, I really did enjoy killing Waterfiends. This was a first for me, as I mentioned before. You know, never really have killed them before. These were very popular in pre-EOC. When summoning was considered a thing, these were very good for Crimson Charms, and even back in those days, I never killed them. So yeah, this was a first for me. And as always, we did do all the level 3 clue scrolls that we did receive throughout 1,000 kills at Waterfiends. I'm not too sure how many I did. I believe it was 5 or 6, but it was nice to see them on the drop table. Kind of reminds me of something similar to Waterfiends, which is a Pyre Fiend. They're actually lower level, kind of similar drop tables, and they drop level 2 clues. So it was kind of nice to see that they included clue scrolls with this. It kind of gave me something more to do if I got bored or anything like that. I did mention at the beginning of the video that they don't really have a rare drop table. I kind of lied. They do drop a missed battle staff, which is 1 in 3,000, but I will say it's only worth 154k, and I'm pretty sure it only buys for like 97k, so it's really not worth it to mention it as a rare, but it is considered 1 in 3,000, and unfortunately we did not receive it in 1,000 kills. Who knows though, maybe we would have gotten it had we done 3,000, but it's alright. And now it is time to price check every single item that we did manage to get in these 1,000 kills. I will say that this was a good experience overall, and I do appreciate all the variety on the drop table. It is nice to see all those types of runes that you don't really see too commonly from other things such as steam, mud, and mist runes, especially seeing uncommon things like sapphire bolts. I don't know, it was just really interesting to see all the drops that Waterfiends had to offer. So yeah, it's time to see how much all of this stuff is worth, so let's go ahead and price check. Alright, looking at all these items in the inventory, as well as 1 mil cash from 1,000 Waterfiends just in AUX and all the coin drops, the first inventory comes out to be just about 3.9 mil. Most of that money coming from the water orbs as well as the mud runes, and of course the large cash stack. I will say that that was more than I was expecting, so that's pretty nice. I guess we can round that 3.9 mil up to 4 and move on to the last price check, which I really just saved for the rune full helms and the rune med helms. I would recommend that you guys AUK these, but for me personally, a drop tab is more important to look at than just more GP. I think it's cooler anyway, so yeah, there you go. Got about 600k from that price check, meaning that we made about 4.6 mil from 1,000 Waterfiends. Quite the experience. I'm not too sure if I would recommend killing these, but at least you guys know a little bit more about them, and maybe the next time you get these assigned as a Slayer task, you'll have a different opinion, or maybe you'll just avoid them completely. I'm not too sure. All in all, supply costs ended up being just about 3.3 mil. That's with darts, scales, and potions, so my profit was just about 1.3 from 1,000 Waterfiends. That's alright though. I was just doing this out of curiosity, not really for profit. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching it, and until next time, Mr. No Sleep out.